All right, guys, welcome to our next lecture. This lecture, we're going to be talking about different types of fruit because we already did flowers and then we did pollination. And once the flower is pollinated, it's going to produce fruit. So fruits, what you need to know, what I just said, once plant is pollinated, some of them can produce fruits. So fruits are going to be the ovary of the plant or of the flower that's fertilized and filled with mature seeds. So if we look here, here's our ovary, right? This swells and becomes the fruit. So the seeds are going to contain genes from both the male and female parents, and the genes will be different depending on if it was cross-pollinated or self-pollinated. If it was self-pollinated, they're going to have the same genes, right? If it's cross-pollinated, then it's going to get a whole new set of genes from a different plant. Now let's remember, because we're talking about fruit, that things like a tomato are a fruit because tomatoes came from flowers and they have seeds within them. Okay, vegetables don't come from a flower and don't contain seeds. Vegetables instead are stems or leaves or roots of a plant. Okay, so you're eating plant parts when you eat a vegetable, like think lettuce, think a carrot, right? That's a root. Lettuce are the leaves, right? You're not eating a fertilized ovary. Do we get that? Okay, so things that we always call vegetables like tomatoes and zucchini and squash, those are actually fruit. So there are different parts of a fruit. We've got the pericarp, okay, which is the main part of the fruit. That's going to be the ovary that swelled and developed, okay. Within the pericarp, you have three different parts. You have endocarp. Endo, okay, means within, okay. Meso, think middle, M for middle. That's going to be your fleshy part. And exo, like exit, the outside of something. Exocarp is going to be the outside, which is going to be your skin. We're going to go into each of those on the next slide. So the three parts of the pericarp, and that picture down the bottom has each one highlighted, right? We have the whole fruit, which is the apple. The endocarp is the inside, okay? Go all the way in. That's going to be your middle picture right here. Okay, that's going to be the inside. It's going to be like your core of an apple, right? Not the seeds, but the actual thing that holds the seeds. The pit in a peach or a cherry, that area within the middle, right? It's not really the part that you eat. It's kind of the part you eat too, all right? The mesocarp, which is the part you really eat, is going to be the middle portion, right? So that's going to be this one over here. That's your middle portion. That's like the fleshy part of the fruit that you focus on eating. Think of like the flesh of a mango or the actual like cantaloupe middle part. All right. You scoop out the endocarp, the part that holds all the seeds, and then you eat the mesocarp and you peel off the last part, which is the exocarp. Oh, I can't circle it. My face is in the way. But the exocarp is the outside or the rind. Skin, rinds, husk, peels, exocarps. So when we talk about fruits, there's three different types of fruit. A fruit can either be simple, aggregate, or multiple. All right, so a simple fruit is a fruit that comes from one single ovary. So you have the ovary of the flower like this, one of the pistils. So one of the pistils becomes pollinated, right? Or it only has one pistil actually. It becomes pollinated and the fruit grows from that pollination. So one on a simple fruit. You're talking pears, apples, tomatoes. Our next one is going to be an aggregate fruit. So in an aggregate fruit, the fruit develops from a single flower that has a bunch of pistils. So if we look, right, we have a bunch of different pistils from this flower. So in here, in that area right there, you can't really see it because I'm writing in red, I guess that's a bad color. All right, in that area right there, all right, you're going to have a bunch of different pistils. So there's a whole bunch of ovaries, all right? So when they become pollinated, each one swells into its own fruit and they all kind of come together, all right? If you look at a raspberry, you can actually have like all of this red, then you can have like an area right here, let's say, like where I'm coloring in, that isn't like as it didn't become fruit, it didn't like ripen appropriately. That's because those ones actually never got pollinated. So you could have actually part of it pollinate and the other half not. Those would be aggregate fruits. Strawberries, think of a strawberry, how sometimes like it doesn't like become round all the way around. It's because it didn't all pollinate. All right, so it's many pistils, many ovaries, and they all form one fruit. Last one is multiple fruits. So multiple fruits means there's multiple ovaries and pistils on one single structure. Okay, so they're separate actual flowers that all combine to one. It's hard to tell on a pineapple because I actually never knew what a pineapple flower looked like, but it has all of these. Oh, I'm writing in white still from the other page. It has all of these. So all those little purple on that picture are different flowers. And each one of those flowers, when they're pollinated, forms one of these little areas, which is actually its own fruit. Okay, so single, it's almost like a single fruit, but all combined together, right? So single fruit is one pistil, one ovary, one fruit. Multiple is multiple pistils that all combine to make one fruit. And I mean aggregate, sorry, is multiple pistils that all combine to make one fruit. And then multiple is multiple flowers. Each flower has one pistil. Each pistil makes a fruit, but it combines together to the larger fruit that you buy. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? So aggregate was the one I kind of messed up on. The aggregate, let's remember, aggregate is one flower, multiple pistils, they all become one fruit. Okay, next. So when we talk about fruit, the job of fruit, the whole reason we have it, is to disperse seeds. Okay, so plants need their seeds dispersed or spread out. This is very similar to kind of how things get pollinated, where multiple animals do it. That's what happens here. Seeds get dispersed, right? And we're going to use wind, water, or animals to disperse the seeds. So the seeds are going to stick to the fur of an animal, or an animal can eat the fruit. And then the fruit, when they eat the fruit, they don't digest the seeds. The seeds, they just poop out, so it's going to pass in their feces, right? That's why, if you find bear poop, bears eat tons of fruits, right? Everyone thinks that bears are scary, but all they eat is fruits. Bear poop is covered in seeds. It's super seedy. That's how you know it's a bear. It's one of the trademarks of it. So you don't actually digest seeds, right? We'll talk next week that some seeds actually have to pass through the digestive system to allow them to grow, which is interesting. That's why some things, when you plant it, when you get it from the grocery store and you just try to plant the seeds from it, it won't grow. For wind and water, this is a picture of a dandelion, right? And dandelions, you can blow on and the seeds disperse. That would be wind dispersal. Wind dispersal things have this little area, that little white part, the blowy thing. They have something that's gonna make them spread out. Think of a twirly on a maple tree. Things that fall like this. The little wings. The wings are what help those disperse. All right, so depending on the way they're dispersed, they're going to have different structures to the seeds to allow them to move. Okay, that is it. I will see you back in class. Make sure you wrote all the notes down. If you didn't, go back and write them down. Remember, one side of the page, not the other.